At the tone, the time will be
0:30.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled to.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel and 0:30. We're blasting out of the bunker, folks. We're talking about blasting off. I blasted off a little too hard, a little too much accelerator puzzle pedal there, folks. But I've got a video topic here. Let me get you back in position. There we are. Oh yeah, wasn't that fun? Well, fuck. That was a start. A national divorce. This topic came up again. It's come up several times, and different media sources will want to try and give some people credit for it. It's an idea that we all think about. Wouldn't it be nice if we could just tell the federal government to go to hell? How hard would that be? Why can't it happen? Why can't we just tell them we don't want to be part of them anymore and start our own country? You know. Or rather, shall, instead of saying start our own country, reinstitute freedom and liberty and a republic, a national republic, and have states that want to freely associate with them be part of that. Well, one particular article said that in order to avoid bloodshed, this is going to be what has to happen. Do you think for a second that Washington, D.C. will let go of half the states without bloodshed? You see, that's what this is all about. It's about control and domination. It's not about who proposes the idea. And it shouldn't even really be about, how long would it take, right? The whole idea of the Brexit, the concept of countries saying, we want to freely associate with who we want to associate with. There shouldn't be force and military used to force people to participate in this bullshit, this fucking racketeering scheme of controlling people under threat of violence. Right? I am not allowed to use violence to force people to do business with me. I can't use my weapons to make people give me things that I want at deals or valuations that I say which benefit me, but that's what the federal government does. A national divorce without bloodshed. You know what this is? It's a referendum. It would be a total referendum on fuck you, DC. If people could say, if we could do this without bloodshed, then we can just vote on it, right? Well, isn't that what voting is supposed to be about? Is, us choosing our own paths as a people, choosing our own government as a people, how we want to live as a people. The idea that states would leave is incredible. And the mainstream media, as much as Washington, D.C. wouldn't like that, none of them would like the facts to get out. That Americans want to leave D.C., the scum, the swamp, the filth, the pedophiles, they would just ditch them in a heartbeat. Ditch them altogether. They don't want those numbers out there. They don't want it being considered a potential reality. Oh, we can't have that. Right? But this idea of, bloodless, no violence. That's all government is all violence all the time. That's how they get their way. That's how they make people go to jail that they don't like. That's how they eliminate their foes, is through violence and murder and false arrest. That's how you make people behave on the road. You make them do what you want, or you take their license. You take their money. You fine them. You throw them in jail. You ruin their fucking lives. That's how government controls us. It is. They pull you over and they just start fucking with you. And then they don't stop fucking with you until they fucked you over all the way. Well, I agree. I think that there should be a vote whether or not to leave the union. But before that, I don't think it should go. I don't think it should go by state. I think before we do that, we should go by county and say what county wants to freely associate with what county. I mean, if a state is sovereign, let me back up even further. If a nation is sovereign, can make its own decisions about its own destiny, shouldn't states? Well, yeah, states are independent sovereign units that are supposed to be freely associating with the United States of America, just as countries in Europe can freely associate with the European Union. And they can freely leave also. So, if states can freely associate, why not counties? Counties should be able to choose who they want to be associated with. For example, right now, in Oregon, there are well over a dozen counties. More than half the geographical state wants to leave Oregon and join Idaho. I think counties should first decide what state they want to be a part of, whether or not they share. This is important. Whether or not they share a geographical border. Did you know that Michigan, little grade school geography reminder, Michigan is not one landmass. The state of Michigan is two landmasses, separated by the Great Lakes. There's a body of water between one part of Michigan and the other. Don't you think the other part of Michigan could freely associate with Wisconsin or Minnesota? Or Idaho, for that matter? Why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? Well, because it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it makes perfect sense if you want freedom. It makes perfect sense now to have Michigan in two fucking pieces, but it doesn't make sense to let counties choose what state they want to belong to. It doesn't make sense to let the United States break up. It's more important to preserve the Union. Okay, Mr. fucking Lincoln. What is so important about the Union and preserving it that makes going to war and killing people the better option? Letting people be free, no bloodshed, or killing everyone to fight over it? You see, it really does come down to not small issues. The issues at hand are very large. It's about freedom and liberty. It's about keeping your own fucking wealth. It's about not having your wealth stolen from you in the form of taxes and fees and more taxes and fees and registration and fees and forced insurance schemes and fees and taxes. To the point where you're no longer able to enjoy life because you're so busy paying some other fuck in government to tell you what to do. So simple. So yeah, counties, have a vote. What state do you want to associate with freely? You get that taken care of and go, okay, now states. What government do you freely want to associate? And you will know and find out right away that counties will leave states like California to freely associate with Idaho, Nevada. Period. Why? Because they know there'll also be at the same time, the same conversation. When we're done with this county bullshit, we're going to change and leave the United States DC government system. Half the country would fucking leave, population-wise. Half the country would leave, population-wise. And you would see, folks, that blue and red map, that political blue and red map of the United States of America, That's what the country would look like. It'd be cities surrounded by free states. Well, if that's what you fucking blue people want, have at it. But guess what? That's not going to benefit them, is it, folks? No, they lose the natural resources. They lose the food. They lose everything. Everything is what they lose. The only thing they keep are their smelly ass fucking cities. So there you have it. That is why we can't have a bloodless divorce from Washington, D.C. That is exactly why we should have a bloodless divorce, is to keep it bloodless. Aren't we supposed to be civilized, evolved, more intelligent about things? Look at what D.C. is doing now. They want to turn kids into sex toys and call it minor attracted persons. They want you to accept that men can have babies. What a fucking farce that is. People are losing their lives and their careers over the fact that they don't accept a fucking biological impossibility. Men can't have babies. Men cannot produce babies. Oh, sure, you can stick another living organism in someone's body and use drugs to try and get that organism to grow and develop. That's not a man and that's not a baby. Now you're dealing with a science experiment. These are the things they're trying to fucking force on us. On top of the idea that you have no rights, no free speech, nothing. Your life isn't even yours. You don't own yourself. Government fucking thinks it owns you. It owns you. You're a fucking slave. Or should we be having a conversation about a bloodless divorce from this government that thinks it owns us and owns children and can tell everyone what to do and will do whatever the hell it wants to us, whether we like it or not, including medical experimentation, which gives you nothing but 24/7 pain and destruction, if not death. I say, let's do it. Right? Let's do the bloodless divorce. We'll take the next 5 years and separate the counties. And then we'll take the 5 years after that and separate the states. It'll be a nice, well planned out, thought out political conclusion. And you'll see how the people of the country go, okay, we don't all have to die trying to be free. Well, I choose freedom then. I choose freedom. You see, right now, as things are, only the most radical, fucking patriotic, hard-nosed, testosterone-driven, injected, intellectual, brilliant minds are saying freedom is better, and I'm willing to die for it. Everyone else is like, yeah, I'd rather live as a slave because, it's easier that way. People, I'm not going to call them cowards, but they're just not that fucking strong. But you give them a vote. Give them a vote, right? Isn't that what voting was about? It was a way to have a bloodless revolution to determine who runs the government. But right now, who runs the government? Not you and I, the people. And that's why we are getting closer and closer to a revolution, a revolt, a civil war, partisan conflict. Because we are finding out as a people, as a species of being living in the same political and geographical boundaries, we're discovering quite handily that we aren't in charge of voting for ourselves and our own leadership. Consequently, more people want to fight. They don't like that. And so it would be smarter to allow a vote to determine our own path, our own futures. And preserving a union full of fucking slaves, who does that benefit? And speaking of the word leader, fucking Mitch McConnell, what a pile of shit. He's in the hospital because he fell. And he's being referred to as Leader McConnell. He's not my fucking leader. He's not leading jack shit. He is a minority Senate. He's a minority senator in a leadership position. He is not a fucking leader. And leader is not a title. Leader is not a title. Speaker of the House, that is a government position. Minority leader, I guess you could say, is a position. So, okay, minority leader McConnell, he's not a fucking leader. He's a pile of shit. I'm so sick of these fucking people. Let's do it. Bloodless divorce. It'll be a quiet revolution. Watch and see if this idea continues to take hold, to get traction. Watch how they're going to say, it's impossible. You can't do that. It's not allowed by the Constitution. All of a sudden, the Constitution will be something that they refer to. There's nowhere in law that recognizes that a state can leave a union. Brexit. Oh, shit. Yeah, whoops. We can't get that done. It'll take decades to figure out. No, it won't. Hasta la fucking vista, baby. You took over Ukraine, no problem. You took over Afghanistan, no problem. You took over Iraq, no problem. But that was with guns and bullets and tanks, and we used force, and oh, fuck yeah. Whoops, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, we're going to do it without violence, so same thing happens. You just have a new government. You throw out all the old fucking rules, because that's what people want. They want to throw out all the old fucking rules, or all the new rules, all the extra rules, all the bullshit rules. Throw them all the fuck out and go right back to basic common law, basic criminal law. If someone's hurt, if someone's injured, that's a crime. Or it's a tort, and someone has to make amends. It's that simple. It's that fucking simple. I don't need to have code 153 section F subsection Q screw me in the ass every time the government needs another dime. We don't need that. Think about it, though, folks. Think about it. I'm going to go and deal with reality. 0 dark 30. Are you prepared to deal with SHTF? Chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours? Semper Fi. Godspeed.